Hi, Sam Sorbo here for the Accidental Homeschooler. Now I should call myself the Accidental Debate Club person, runner, organizer. So I told you guys a little bit ago about a debate club that I started. I've now started two actually here in Southern Florida, debate and speech. And so today, I just want to run you through things that you can do at debate club. Some of the things that we started out with to kind of encourage you and inspire you, because we want our young people who are now being vested with our values. We want them to be able to express those values. And let's face it, young people love to argue. So let's teach them how to do it properly with respect. And so I'm going to take some time and work through some of these things. But just to get you started, I want to talk about impromptu speeches. I started with impromptu because it's exciting and it gets the kids up on their feet. It's very limited time. Most young people, when you put them on their feet and you ask them to speak, they can barely get out a minute. So it's fast. And what we want to do is limit it to 3 minutes so it doesn't become so long, and you don't just allow one child to sort of usurp the stage for any great lengths of time. What I did was I put up on the board the parts of a speech. Now, initially, some kids misunderstood and they started naming parts of speech. Noun, verb, adverb. I said, no, we're doing parts of a speech. So what does a speech start with? And strangely enough, a speech mimics the persuasive essay, because that's what it's all about. It's all a very standard form. We have a standard way that we communicate because it's effective and it's worked for centuries, okay? So what are the parts of a speech? And I urge you, this is what I did. Every time we start club, we put them back up on the board. And now the kids know them by rote. It's not that hard to do. So we start with an exordium. An exordium is your introduction. It's the hook that grabs your audience. There are 5 types of exordium or exordia, if you're Latin-minded. There are 5 times. There's a statistic. You can start with a statistic or a challenge or a question or a short anecdote, or there's a 5th one. It's escaping me. A quote, a quotation. All great ways to start a speech because they are ways to garner interest. You grab your audience, get them involved, because now they're wondering, okay, what's coming next? What else does this person have to say? Because that first part intrigued me, okay? Then you move into your thesis. What is it that you're going to talk about? What's the crux of what you're trying to impart or convince, okay? And then you follow that with 3 points, and you label your 3 points, you name them. So in order to convince you of this thing, I'm going to talk about A, B, and C. And then you go from there into each of your 3 points. You basically say a paragraph of each of those points, or proofs, we call them. And you need to have supports for those proofs. So whatever you're contending, you need to be able to give examples of it or give supports for it. After your 3 proofs, you go into your conclusion. And if you're feeling really fancy in your conclusion, after that, you amplify it. So a lot of kids, when they start writing these essays or these speeches, their amplification starts with, this should matter to you, or this should matter to the audience because, right? So that's the thought behind the amplification. But we've moved on from that, and I'm not allowing them to say this should matter, because they are more advanced than that. So we're trying to get them to say, all horseback riders should care about this particular thing because they ride horses and it's important to know about it, or whatever your subject is, right? And so you amplify it, so you relate it to your audience in a way that ought to make them embrace it. That's what we're doing when we're giving speeches. We're trying to get the audience to embrace the ideas that we're putting forward. And so that's the way that we get into impromptu. Now, you go from that, you go, because you're running it, right? You need to have some prompts. So what are you going to ask the kids to talk about? And those can be very silly. I've got a whole list of just silly ones like, why you shouldn't fight with your sister, or how to win an argument, or if you're really starting, then it's my favorite summer vacation, my favorite winter vacation, my favorite family vacation, my favorite dessert, my favorite dinner, my favorite thing to cook, right? So you just come up with those ideas. What I did, you can do this any different number of ways. I had a list and I didn't have time to cut them apart. So I said to the kids, because you want to have an element of randomness and not that you're just picking a topic for them. I had my list. I said, okay, I've got 8 things on my list here. So pick a number between 1 and 8. And then I'd go down the list. I'd go to if he picked 7, I'd go to the number 7 one and I'd give him 7. That worked for a little while. And then I found the time and I cut them apart and I put little slips so they could pick up the slip. That's actually helpful, because if they can pick a slip off a table, so they're not choosing the topic, they're just getting to pick the slip, then they read the slip. They don't read the slip before they pick it. They read the slip, they can hold it during their speech. That sometimes is effective because it keeps their hands quiet, basically. And also, you'll find that young speakers often get a little bit lost in where they're going. And so it's helpful if they can look at their prompt, and that will often prompt them back into what they were going to be saying, or their ideas, which will get them back into the speech. So holding the prompt is often helpful. And so that's the way that we've been doing it. And there will be more videos about this. It's been an amazing experience. I can't tell you how heartening it is. And I think I've shared with you that I've had kids just break down. I had one girl who just basically refused to speak. We got her to say 3 sentences. I considered that a win. I let it go. I said, congratulations, you did speak. You aren't the can't speak person, because now you are a person who speaks a little, and that's better than being a non-speak person. And then the following week, she spoke for almost 3 minutes. It's amazing. It's amazing. And she has an amazing voice in terms of not just her spoken voice and what she sounds like, but she has an amazing voice because she's got an amazing brain, and she has things to share that are valuable. And I want to tell you, before I sign off, the reason we do this is specifically because the left is trying to shut us up. Because if they can achieve silence, they win. Once we no longer have the free exchange of ideas, we no longer have freedom, and they've won. And so that's why I'm doing these videos. Pro bono. I'm just trying to encourage people. Start a club. Just start it. What you will find is these kids are desperate for someone to hear them. Just to hear them, just to have the opportunity to be heard. It's intoxicating. And my clubs are growing. And so I would hope the same for you. Just understand you're meant to encourage, and I will go into that in another video. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you back here next time.